Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. And as always, we give peace and salutations unto the elect. Starting at the Tabernacle of David, all right, which are the 144,000, all right, who will be the governing body of the kingdom of heaven. All right, a fulfillment of the Tabernacle of David established on earth as it is in heaven. All right, who will be established by Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. After the 144,000, you have the large multitude, which are the rest of the men, women, and children, all right, who will be delivered, all right, at the time of Yahweh Shai's second coming. All right, that body is known as the remnant, all right, who would be raised up in the latter days. All right, so that they can be heirs to the promise that was given unto the fathers, all right, starting at Abraham, his seed, Isaac, and his seed, all right, through Jacob, who fathered the 12 tribes of Israel. As the prophecy said, Israel will be as the sand of the sea, all right, but a remnant will return, all right, and that will be the physical descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, but those who are in spirit are the ones that count as heirs to the promise through faith. All right, because as the prophecy says in the book of Jeremiah, as long as the sun and the moon are still in their course, that means that the physical seed of the nation of Israel, which descended directly out of the loins of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, are still here in the earth. All right. So I wanted to deal with this topic of hate, racism, racist, and bigotry. All right. In response to this video done by the elder Apostle Tahar. All right. The title of this video is Vocab is a Deceiver. All right. And the YouTube handle here for the elder Apostle Tahar. All right. One of his pages is Elders in Transit 3. Okay, make sure that you subscribe and constantly be edified. All right, in this video, okay, the elder Apostle Tahar played a clip from Vocab Malone. All right, and it's pretty much going to be the narrative that they all use, that we're hateful, that we're bigots, that we're racist, and that the Bible does not speak on these things. And that's what we're going to go into in this day. All right, in this lesson, rather, we're going to go into those words. All right, race, racist, racism, all right, hate, and bigotry. And we're going to see if those things are indeed in the Bible, or if we're pulling a narrative out of our ass, all right, to establish a false doctrine, because that's the argument. All right, the reason that he's so gung-ho about coming after the Israelites is because we come out of the scriptures with a narrative that's not true and is full of bigotry and hatred, okay, and all of these other things. And we can't expect him to go at the Catholic Church. We can't expect him to go at the 1948er, all right, because ultimately he's working on those type of people's behalf. All right, he's an Edomite. We believe he's an Amalekite, and it's coming out clearly, all right, what he's all about. If you listen to him of late, all right, he's throwing out the narrative that, you know, the Messiah is a so-called white man. The Israelites are so-called white people. David would have been a so-called white man. All right, so it's clear as day what his agenda is and who he's sent for. All right, and it's the proof is in the fact that you have a group of people, okay, who currently inhabit, so say, Jerusalem, right? And they are over there practicing a high level form of racism. All right. But that is totally ignored to come at us. And it's okay. All right. We're not it's no use in even asking him why he doesn't come at them now that we clearly see his agenda. All right. So a snare is being laid, and that's all it is. All right. And the snare will be, in particular, the uses of words. All right, because this devil has something that is called newspeak. And that's ultimately what we're going to get into. These words, like racism, racist, all right, and all of these things, and just going to their pure meaning, all right, and showing you that the Bible does deal with these things, all right. The Bible tells you that there is a time for hate. Hate is actually healthy in particular situations, right? Whereas this world, after they've destroyed every goddamn thing, okay, and destroyed all of the nations, now everything's about love. When everyone's rising up in prophecy, no, it's not going to be like that. The Bible doesn't prophesy of that. Okay, hard times, hatred, okay, and great events of evil are going to come into the earth, and it's all ordained by the Most High himself. Okay, now when you go to this term newspeak, okay, just to get a quick example, all right, and it talks about this in the 1984 movie and book as well. All right, it says newspeak is a purposefully ambiguous and confusing language with restricted grammar and limited vocabulary used in Oceania, according to Orwell, to diminish the range of thought. All right, to diminish the range of thought. All right, and that's what it is. Okay, it says ambiguous, all right, euphemistic language, all right, used chiefly in political propaganda, all right, making black a race, all right, doing all of these wicked things, throwing the term racism out there, hate. These are all things used and that will be used for a political agenda against the truth. All right. And we can clearly see that narrative building in the earth as the current president, all right, is seeking to crack down on hate speech as they are being exposed, all right, on a level like never before. OK, so we're going to start here in the book of Isaiah, the 29th chapter and the 21st verse. All right. I'll start at 20. It says, for the terrible one is brought to naught. OK, Esau, Edom. And the scorner is consumed. All that watch for iniquity are cut off. All right. And people who practice iniquity, all right, which is a high level of sin. All right. And that's what the whole Christian movement is all about. All right. Here it is. Their whole foundation was based upon racism, hatred, to the event that they actually put the sword to people based upon their racial superiority. All right. Took lands based upon their racial superiority, but they hid it all behind love in the Bible. And now that we've waken up to that, all right, there's a sense of urgency from the powers that be to demonize and shut off particular wordings and speeches, okay, that ultimately affect them. All right. Here's the point: that make a man an offender for a word, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. And that's ultimately what they are doing. They are trying to literally make people, all right, of all races, all right, because you even have Edomites who have particular narratives and things that they're bringing out that the government and the powers that be want to be shut down. All right. But the thing with vocab and the people who come up against us, all right, they think that they're going to use the pseudoscience and who this world has painted us as, and, our aggressive, demeanor and all of these things to chant us down and to ultimately have us imprisoned in the truth just ultimately destroyed. No, that's not going to work, you see, because as you read here, it says, therefore, thus saith the Lord, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob. Jacob shall not now be ashamed. All right, they're going to stand boldly, okay, for who they are and for their nation of people. All right, the remnant, it says, neither shall his face now wax pale, meaning we wouldn't be in that timid, weak state, marching around trying to be equal with every damn body. And that's the spirit they want you in. All right, marching for equality when the scriptures never told us to do that. And you've made a fool of yourself marching around for some goddamn equality in a system, all right, that deems you and your people, all right, not even fully human. Okay. It says, but when he seeth his children, the work of mine hands, which are us, the Israelites, the remnant, in the midst of him, they shall sanctify my name, okay, and sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, all right, and shall fear the God of Israel. See that? The God of Israel. That's a racist statement, and we'll show you how, all right? They also that erred in spirit shall come to understanding, and they that murmured shall learn doctrine. And see, this is what's happening. They that erred in spirit through following pseudoscience, all right, being bound to the lies of this world, to the image of this world, to the image of the beast, all right, shall come to the understanding, all right, and no longer lean upon Esau. And he takes very, 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 very seriously, all right, a detached Israelite mind, okay, an Israelite who separates from him, who's no longer leaning upon him. See, that's why he doesn't deem the House of Consciousness or Black Power a threat, because it's all under one of his strongholds, black, okay, or African American, okay. Those are all strongholds, all right, in terms within it's a form of newspeak, because there's really no nation, okay, that in the Bible that goes by black or African American or colored, or all of the things that our people are here in Babylon the Great marching after and fighting for. So newspeak, ambiguous, euphemistic language used chiefly in a political agenda. All right. So their political agenda is to shut off the Israelites. OK, to make a man an offender for a simple word. All right. For preaching the word and laying a snare for him that reproveth in the gate. So we're going to show you how newspeak has been used as a snare, one of many snares that they have for the Israelites, okay, and for people, period, who come up against their plan of the NWO, world domination, having everybody's soul on a grid, having every transaction on a grid through digital currency. See? Race. All right. This is the first thing we're going to look up is the word race. All right. Then we're going to look up racist. All right. Or ism. All right. These are things that you should understand going forward so that you're not ultimately taken by the wiles of the devil, because this is how they're going to get a whole hell of a lot of people. As the scriptures say, fear not the incredulity. People are going to say, you guys are preaching hate. You guys are racist. They're running with the narratives of the beast. You see, which is pseudoscience. Okay, we always bring this out, but the wicked is being revealed. All right, 2 Thessalonians 2:8, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. And see, what does the scripture say about Satan? He's transformed as a let's look that up, as an angel of light. 2 Corinthians 11:14, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. So he comes in the way that the people who are under the vibration of Satan, they come as if they're so nice, well put together. Watch the news. Look at the news station. The people who are on the news say they're well spoken. Okay, they come as if they're so meek, humble, and loving and caring. All right, but really they're paid actors. They failed at acting, so they become newscasters and they work for the agenda of the left hand. Whereas we who are rough, rugged, all right, like someone left a comment, how many times are you going to say, all right? You know, I'm not a professional speaker, all right? I'll work on it. I'll keep it in mind. But ultimately, we're the base things of the world. And our speech is not going to be, you know, this grandiose, loving, you know, a worldly accepted way of coming. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be different. And that's the approach the Heavenly Father takes. He doesn't want people to look at the truth, all right, and be comfortable and say, oh, no, that's not the way that he wants. But on the left-hand side, that's how they come, as if they're there to help you, but ultimately they're there to destroy you, man. Even him who's coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. And we always show you that that word lying is pseudos, okay, false, okay, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved, because the truth to them is hateful. Meanwhile, they're at the bottom. Their whole nation has been destroyed, decimated. All right, you have a small percentage of people hoarding all of the resources to themselves while everybody else is running in this rat race. Okay, the food quality is absolutely terrible. The education doesn't teach you the truth. But here it is, you're standing up talking about we're racist. We're racist, right? Anyway, and to be a true supremacist in this system, you would have to control the banks, which controls the monetary, the money. Okay, you would have to control the quality of education that can go into particular school system. You'd have to control the quality of food that can go into particular neighborhoods, what stores are set up in particular neighborhoods. You can control what music comes on to the radio and what comes out, what's deemed hot. We don't have that type of power, but the people that do, okay, those are the ones who ultimately can sit behind the curtain doing all of this wickedness. Meanwhile, everybody else is in this scrabble and this rat race, man. But the Spirit has revealed you all unto us, man. So for this cause, God shall send them a strong delusion that people should believe a lie. And one of the lies that people are going to fall for is this whole racist thing, racism, that they might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. All right, because the God of this world, okay, let's get that and we'll move on, have blinded their minds. Okay, this is 2 Corinthians 4:3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. All right, in whom the God of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of God, should shine unto them. All right, going to the story of the Exodus with Moses. Was that racist? Was he racist for going to Pharaoh and said, "Let my people go"? These are the things that you have to think about. All right. If David was here, if Moses was here, all right, if the true Messiah was here, they would say he was racist based upon, all right, the true meaning of what racist or racism is, or what true hate is, or what bigotry is. Let's look into those words and dive deep. I'm just fucking around. Let's look into these words, man. Race, okay? Race. All right. People descended from a common ancestor. All right. Our race, all right, our nation, what we teach is that we are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That is our race. All right. Hebrew Israelites. Hebrew is a legacy and a language. All right. Going all the way back to Adam. Okay. Who through, Noah. All right. Then you had Shem. Okay. And then you had our Faxad, on down that line. All right. Ultimately, when the languages were confounded at the Tower of Babel, all right, a particular family, a particular seed line stuck to the right way. Okay. Through Shem. Okay. And that's where you get Eber, Hebrew. Okay. Now, through that story, you eventually get Abraham, all right? Then you have Isaac, you have Jacob, all right? That is our race. That is our nationality, all right? People descended from a common ancestor, class of persons allied by a common ancestry. From French race, all right? Earlier, raza, okay? Which I believe is a Latin word as well. Raza, all right? Race, okay? Breed, lineage, or family. Okay, so now that we know what race is, let's go to the definition of ist, which is a suffix. Okay, ist. So in order to be a racist, all right, you are a follower of a distinctive practice, all right, system, or philosophy, typically a political ideology or an artistic movement. All right. Now, let's go deeper on that. Ist, all right. It denotes a person who practices or is concerned with something. Okay, now what do we practice? All right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, we have the law, statutes, and commandments, but through faith, okay, we practice walking in the spirit. We try to keep the laws to the best of our ability. Those were a group of rules given to the Israelites so that they can be separate from all of the other nations. That's why the scriptures say, do not after the manner. Let's get that. Just going to get some simple biblical principles. Okay. Deuteronomy 12, I know. Let's get Deuteronomy 12. Let's see. Yep, Deuteronomy 12 and 1. These are the statutes and judgments which ye shall observe and do to do in the land which the Lord thy God of thy fathers giveth thee to possess all the days of thy life. All right. Verse 2, ye shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which ye shall possess serve their gods. Okay. This was an act of bigotry. This was an act of racism. All right. And we'll show you. All right. Upon the high mountains and upon the hills and under every green tree, ye shall overthrow their altars, break their pillars, burn their groves with fire, and ye shall hew them down their graven images of their gods and destroy the names of them. So we should destroy Jesus Christ, the name, not only the image, the name of them out of that place. Okay, now we do this in spirit now, as the scriptures say, we cast down imaginations and strongholds that exalt themselves against Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai. That is a form of bigotry, and we'll get into that in a minute. We're not budging, we're not moving, we're standing firm on what we believe. Okay, and we speak against other beliefs. That is the heritage of the prophets of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Now, when you go down, to get this point real quick, all right, Deuteronomy 12 and 29, when the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whether thou goest to possess them, and succeedest them and dwellest in their land, take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them. All right. After that they be destroyed from before thee. So the Lord told us to put these nations to death. Okay. And to not follow their ways, to hate their ways. Okay. And we'll get deeper into it. It says, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their God? Even so will I do likewise. We are commanded, even in this time, not to follow after the ways of the heathen. Okay, in comes vocab saying it's hateful to say that. Okay, and you're preaching hatred. Okay, let's go back to race-ist or ist. Okay, ist. All right, it says a person who practices or is concerned with something or holds certain principles and doctrines. Okay. As a matter of fact, when you go to 2 Thessalonians, we were just there too. When you go down, what does it say? Verse 15, therefore, brethren, stand fast and hold the traditions which ye have been taught, whether by word or by our epistle. Okay? So we're supposed to hold fast to traditions. Let's look up what the word traditions means. All right, paradosis, all right. The act of giving over, surrender to the point. A body of precepts, ritual, which in the opinion of the later Jews were orally delivered by Moses and orally transmitted in unbroken succession by subsequent generations, which precepts both illustrating and expanding the written laws as they did, all right, were be to obeyed with equal reverence. Okay, writings, the traditions, instructions, which is the law, statutes, commandments, all right, the prophets, okay, the Psalms, the Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, all of those things are instructions for us, all right, on how to operate in the Holy Spirit, all right, and maneuver with balance, okay, going back to ist, okay, let's go down here to get a point. It says a suffix, all right, because a noun describes a person, a place, or a thing. They're trying to describe us as a hate group, right? Well, so we're racist. A person who performs a certain action or is concerned with something specified, okay? A person who practices in a specific field. We are Hebrew Israelites. A person who advocates a particular doctrine system, all right, or relating to such a person of the doctrine advocated. We're advocating for our people. Let's look up the word to advocate. Let's look at what it means to advocate. Okay, to speak or write in favor of, to support or urge by argument. And this is what we do day in and day out, week in and week out. We're advocating for the elect of the nation of Israel, all right, to be placed in power under Yahushua, starting with the 144 directly under him. Okay, and when you read the Holy Scriptures, okay, let's go to Revelation. So to the true meaning of racism or racist, we're going to get ism as well. A true racist is one who holds dear to a particular doctrine that is concerning his people, and he advocates for his people in that doctrine. As a matter of fact, when Yahushua said this in Matthew, the 15th chapter, this could be labeled as a racist statement, all right? Matthew 15:24, but he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You see, when you go to Revelation 21 and it describes the kingdom of heaven, okay, which the kingdom of heaven is the elect, all right, with the law, statutes, commandments written in them. Revelation 21:12, all right. As a matter of fact, I'll start at 10. It says, and he carried me away into the spirit to a great and high mountain, all right, and showed me that great city upon the holy Jerusalem, descending out from heaven from God, which Christians don't know what that means. All right, that's the elect coming down from being changed, getting those new bodies, being crowned. They're going to eventually come down to set up the throne of David on earth. That's when we even when we pray, we say on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, so it says having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates. And at the 12 gates, 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Now, there are 17 nations, or 18 nations on the earth. All right. I always get that mixed up. It's either 17 or 18. Salakia. All right. But only one nation, all right, when it comes to the kingdom of heaven, is written at the gates, which is the leadership. Okay. Then it goes to the 12 apostles of the Lamb, which are Israelites. Then as you go down, it goes to the 144 cubits, which are Israelites. Okay? The 144,000, according to Revelation, the 7th chapter, are Israelites. Okay? And the large multitude. But that's a whole nother lesson for a whole nother time. Because this race, this nation of people have been scattered. Okay, but right there is a form of the Most High being racist. All right, he is concerned with his people, all right, being on top. All right, Deuteronomy 7. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 7 and 6. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Above. Okay? When you read the blessings and the curses, okay? if the Israelites had fulfilled that first covenant, Deuteronomy 28:1, and it shall come to pass that if thou hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God and observe to keep all his commandments, okay, which would make us what? Racist. We're following the laws that the Heavenly Father gave to our forefathers for us to be separate and holy from all of the other nations. Okay? If we fulfill that first covenant, okay, what would have happened? All right? If we observed and did all those commandments which he commanded us, all right, the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all the nations of the earth, which is a form of racism. It's racist. But see, what they've been able to do is take their practices and their way, and they've tainted every goddamn thing. And now newspeak is being used to make being racist a negative thing. Okay? Because they are negative. They're evil. They're wicked. Okay? Even within the Bible, okay, there is going to come a point where it becomes physical when the Lord returns. Yes, we're going to take down the nations. We're going to enslave you. You're going to pay for your evil. The Edomites are going to be destroyed. But there's a point where we'll, you know, after that 1,000-year period, you'll have enough time to know what we require and what we want. Okay. And this is why they don't bring up David. See, this is why they don't bring up David, the throne of David, because when you get Luke, the first chapter, and there's so much more, but we're just hitting these points real quick. Luke, the first chapter, and the 31st verse, it says, and behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yahushai, and he shall be great, and he shall be called the Son of the Highest, and the Lord thy God shall give unto him the throne of his father David, and he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. So the kingdom of heaven is the throne of David. All right. But you notice Christians don't bring out anything about David. They don't talk about the throne of David. And here's why. Because if they did, they would have to then proclaim racism or racist behavior. They would have to say things that are racist, because David, when he was delivered and he did get his throne, okay, which Solomon forwarded for 40 years. Let's read his mindset just to get a quick understanding, okay? When you read it, this is David's deliverance, okay? 2 Samuel 22:1. David spake unto the Lord the words of this song, okay? In the day that the Lord had delivered him out of the hands of all his enemies and out of the hands of Saul. Which, what does the Lord say? I'm going to raise up the tabernacles of David as in the days of old, so that we can possess, all right, the heathen, their lands, right? But they don't want to go into that. All right. Recently, they wanted to go in. They want to go into Isaiah, the 19th chapter. Well, that's good, because now that opens up the dialogue to go into more prophecies, because Christians for so long have ran away from the narrative of prophecy. You see? But now they thought they had a point with the whole Egypt and Assyria thing, which check out the Apostles and Elders videos on it. I myself did a video. Other brothers went into it as well to break that down. Okay? Now, when you go down to David's mindset while singing this song, okay, you know, because David subdued the heathen. 2 Samuel 22:41. And thou hast given me the necks of mine enemies. Okay, and yes, the Heavenly Father placed all of this in the scriptures. The Bible deals with racism. All of the race wars that took place in the Bible, and now all of a sudden, racism is evil. This is how you know these people aren't working for the interest of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. They're working for the interest of the God of this world, all right, which has exalted, all right, his wisdom, okay, or its wisdom, because it's a dual-gendered God, all right, above the wisdom of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Even the biblical nations don't matter anymore under the God of this world and under Christianity. All right, only one person has a biblical nationality, and that's them. They're the Jews. Anyway, thou hast given me the necks of mine enemies, that I might destroy them that hate me, They looked, but there was none to save, even unto Yahweh, but he answered them not. Then did I beat them small as the dust of the earth. I did stamp them as the mire of the street, and did spread them abroad. Thou hast also delivered me from the strivings of my people, and hast kept me to be the head of the heathen, a people which I knew not shall serve me. You see? Now you have camps going around having the heathen licking their boots and all of that, which that's symbolic of our enemies being our footstool. But Yahushua has to come first before we get that type of glory. See, right now you have a heathen lick your boot, all right, which we're not going to have heathen literally licking, all right, our feet or our shoes or sandals, whatever we have. Okay, it's symbolic of our enemies being our footstool. Okay, what did the Lord say? All right, to the serpent, upon your belly shall you go, and dust shall you eat all the days of your life. They're going to be in a low estate. Our enemies will be our footstool, and we're going to rejoice, just like David rejoiced. He rejoiced over having the Edomites under him. He rejoiced over having the Moabites under him. He rejoiced over having the Philistines. Moses, see, when we were delivered out of Egypt, he sung a song and boasted in the deliverance and destruction, all right, of Pharaoh and the Egyptians. Was that racist? Absolutely. You see? But see, here it is. Everybody else can do whatever the hell they want to do. But when it comes to the Israelites, we can't say a damn thing. We're supposed to accept everything and just sit back and say, okay, no. No. And we're not backing down through the Holy Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. Okay? Strangers shall submit themselves unto me. As soon as they hear, they shall be obedient. See that? So just imagine after that 1,000-year period, when the house of David is established, you know, as soon as they hear about Israel, they're going to know to get in order. You see, because remember, no heathen nation will be entered into that new covenant. Only the Israelites will rule, okay, with the law, statutes, commandments written in them. Strangers shall fade away, and they shall be afraid out of their places, man. So this is the mindset of David, and this is why Christians avoid David. This is why Christians avoid the throne of David, because it is associated with racist behavior. Okay? Even when we get beamed up into the chariot, it talks about how we're going to sing the song of Moses. Okay? When we get victory over the beast, over his image, over his mark, and delivered out of this place, it says, and they sing the song of Moses, the servant of God. All right? And when you get the song of Moses, just to show you, and that's in the New Testament, okay, but Exodus 15, then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto Yahweh, and spake, saying, I will sing unto Yahweh, for he hath triumphed gloriously. All right, the horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. And who's the horse and his rider in this day? Esau, Edom, on that red horse. See? So as you read down, he's singing and bragging on Pharaoh's chariots being destroyed, him drowning in the sea. You go down, he brings up some very significant names. The Dukes of Edom. Where is that at? For time's sake. Verse 15, the Dukes of Edom shall be amazed. The mighty men of Moab, all right, trembling shall take hold upon them, and all the inhabitants of Canaan shall melt away. All right, so this is a racist song. Okay, the law, statutes, and commandments being given unto Israel and no other nation was racist. Simple. Psalms 147, all right, and 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, and his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahweh. Okay, when James wrote this letter, all right, James 1:1. James, a servant of the Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. Okay, this letter, or none of these letters, were written unto all nations, but to the Israelites, to the churches that were scattered abroad, coming back to the Most High through the preaching of Yahushua. That's who those letters were written to. So this is racist. But why ain't you say everybody? No, it's not for everybody. If we're out on the streets teaching, okay, and some crazy stuff starts happening, and I say, all right, everybody come to my house. Am I talking about the whole block, or am I talking about my camp? Talking about my camp, and that's what we're doing. We're dealing with our people, which in the scriptures, okay, this is this is Sirach, the 13th chapter, and the 14th verse. Love the Lord all thy life and call upon him for thy salvation. Here's the point. Every beast loveth his like. All right. And every man loveth his neighbor. You don't go into the animal world and see hyenas dwelling with lions. Particular birds, they know to stay away from other particular birds. Particular creatures know to stay away from this type of species. All right. That's their form of racism. How much more the nations of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, okay, that he created, okay? He divided the nations. He did not create all nations to dwell together. That's why all history is filled with racism, all right, and one nation ruling over other. You don't think the Heavenly Father had anything to do with that? How much more the kingdom of heaven? Yes, one nation will rule over all of the other nations in the kingdom of heaven under his only begotten son, who's an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. And they're going to try to make you ashamed of having this mindset. All flesh, all right, consorted according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. You see, a man will cleave to his like. What is our like? Israelites, in particular, the elect who are of a repentant spirit. All right. And they don't have to look like a so-called black person. That's one thing that we teach in difference from a lot of these other Israelite camps, because we understand we have to detach ourselves from the flesh and take heed to the spirit. Israelites are waking up, all right, all over the world, who look different ways, but they have one thing in common. The spirit, all right, links them, all right, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, the spirit in them. All right. All flesh consorted according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. That is racism. Okay, that is bigotry. What fellowship have the wolf with the lamb? All right. So the sinner with the godly. All right. So yes, when you deal with racist. All right, we're advocating for our people, all right, and we're sticking to a particular doctrine, okay, in advocating for it and them, okay? So race, all right, the progenitor you come from, a nation of people, okay, and then the suffix, all right, to donate a person who practices or is concerned with something. We're concerned with the nation of Israel. So is the Most High. Okay. The other nations, all right, will benefit from the sons of God, the Israelites, being established eventually, because that's who the ways were given unto to make this earth create paradise. All right. Starting with Adam. Okay. Which Adam was not the first man on the earth. All right. He was the first to live. All right. And to live means to be endowed with understanding from on high. Okay. Then it was given unto him Eve, and they were to create a legacy, which were the sons of God. Okay. Through Seth, because Abel was slew. All right. That is a nation of people who were to uphold a particular principle or doctrine. That's what the Bible is talking about. Now we're going to jump to ism. We got ist out of the way. All right. Now let's jump to ism, because we have race, we have ist. Now let's get ism. Ism is a distinctive practice, system, or philosophy, typically a political ideology or an artistic movement. All right. Let's see. He loathed isms in any form of dogma. And that's what they're looking at us as. We're teaching dogma. Okay. I mean, that pretty much breaks it down, a distinctive doctrine. Okay. So yes, racism is in the Bible because the nation of Israel were to practice something that was to separate them, all right, from all of the other nations, man. Okay, a holy people. Okay, as a matter of fact, what's that? 2 Peter 2. Let's see here. Maybe, let's see. Yep. 1 Peter 2:9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. And see, if those were true followers of who they call Jesus, they would openly oppose the ways of this world. You see, but they're ashamed, even in their so-called religion, they're ashamed to come out against anything else but the Israelites. How about that? They're not coming up against, because holy means separate. Let's look up the word holy. So y'all fucked up when y'all let us out of hardcore captivity, which was the Lord put a spirit on you so that we can start to read and learn, and the Holy Spirit came. Now you through. Hagios. See, you've always benefited off of our ignorance and us not understanding things. And that's why we say Tawada, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, for setting up teachers that taught us the importance of going into words. How many Jakes you know that are big on words? Now you have particular Jakes who are well spoken and so-called learned in things. All right. But it's not a common thing to know. See, as soon as Jake hears racism, all right, they're going to lose their mind. Racist, because what? The God of this world has destroyed them. They've been educated by Esau, all right, which ultimately from a child up, you're being trained to be an anti-Messiah. So when now you look at the mass majority of Jake, the Bible ain't real, this and this and that. When you tell them they're chosen, nah, that's hateful. What about everybody else? Because they've been indoctrinated by the God of this world, which the prince of the power of the air is Esau. Even Yahushua said, now cometh the prince of this world who have nothing in me. And he was talking about Esau, which were the Romans. Hagios, a most holy thing, a saint. Okay? Holy. Let me just type in holy. Let's go into the Hebrew meaning of it. In the Hebrew, Salakia. Let's type in holy people. See? Deuteronomy 14:2. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations on the earth. So now they're trying to separate that narrative. But the word holy, all right, kadawash or kadash, sacred, holy, set apart, okay, consecrate, sanctify, prepare, dedicate, to be hallowed, to be holy, to be separate. So that alone is going to make you a bigot. That alone is going to have you practicing true racist behavior. But that does not mean that we're going to go around harming people physically. Now, there's a point in prophecy where that will happen under Yahushua. But right now, all we're doing is preaching. So, yes, we understand that we are racist. Not in the sense of what they're promoting, but in the true sense of what the word means. You see? Yes, we're practicing racism. We're practicing to be set apart by following a distinctive doctrine, practice, system that was given unto us by our fathers. Okay, and with that, We are to hate the ways of evil. Let's go to the book of Psalms 97. Okay? Because they act like hate isn't in the Bible. First, let's look up the definition of hate. All right? Because they hate righteousness. We're an abomination unto them, and they are an abomination unto us. Okay? But let's not act like hate isn't in the Bible, and there's not a time for hate. Okay? Hate. Feel intense or passionate dislike for someone or something. Intense or passionate dislike. That's all it is. But see, they're going to be able to use that term hate and the emotion that comes with it as a means to say they are a threat. Okay, and they are going to kill us, and that we're inciting people to go out and do that. They're going to use particular camps with guns. They're going to set up particular men of different, belief systems who somehow, put Israel within it. Okay, it's just we're Israelites. We're this, we're that, we're this. We believe in everything. We're and they're going to do particular things which are going to lead to them, shutting down hate speech, shutting down this type of people, shutting down that type of people. All right. All because the true core of it is that we have a passionate dislike towards sin, towards evil. OK, and that is the prophets. OK, they had a dislike. They had a hatred. All right. For the practices. OK, of the particular heathen. All right. Get Jeremiah, the 10th chapter. What does it say? Jeremiah 10. In 1, hear ye the word of the Lord, which the Lord speaking unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen. Learn not the way of the heathen. Okay, when you go to 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter, okay, in the second verse, ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away of these dumb idols, even as ye were led. Okay, dumb idols, meaning they don't speak, they're not real, but they control the whole narrative of this world. Idol worship is what runs this whole society. Voiceless, all right, a phonos, voiceless, without faulty of speech, idols. So to condemn idols, okay, is a form of hate, a form of bigotry. We have a strong dislike. And what does the scripture say? Psalms 98, all right, in 97 and 9. For thou, Yahweh, art high above all the earth. Thou art exalted far above all gods. All of the other gods are idols according to the scriptures. So these different practices and religions, we condemn them. We tell our people to come out of them. And Christianity has produced the absolute worst fruit in the world. There are people who are Buddhist, all right, that have more of a peaceful, insightful spirit than them. They're knowledgeable of things, even dealing with diet. Christians don't know anything. All they do is walk around screaming love. You can eat what you want to do. You can do what you want to do. Love, the covenant, which they never talked about the covenants. Now they want to talk about the covenant. The covenant is now open to everybody. And the promise that was given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is no longer in existence. They try to hijack Abraham and throw Isaac and Jacob out of the picture to paint what? A false narrative, which when you go to pseudos, okay, Second Thessalonians 2, when it talks about the pseudos and the lies that he would come with, okay, lying wonders. Lying is pseudos, right? Pseudos, a lie, a conscious and intentional falsehood. He did that with the nations, with everything. He's lied and benefit from a stronghold of confusion. Tower of Babel. All right. In a broad sense, whatever is not what it seems to be, of perverse, impious, deceitful precepts. So he's even taken the Bible and added a narrative that was never there, using the English language, newspeak, all right, and witchcraft. You see, and the mass majority of the people are going to fall for it. But what does the scripture say? Psalms 97:10. Ye that love the Lord hate evil. He preserveth the souls of his saints. He delivered them out of the hand of the wicked. Ye that love the Lord hate. Sana, to hate, to be hateful. Hating an enemy of persons, of a particular wisdom. We yes, hate is in the Bible. Okay? Do not I hate them? Psalms 139. I mean, now we see why they don't want to bring up David. Okay? And this is a psalm of David. I'm going to just jump to the point. Man. I start at 20. Psalms 139 and 20. For they speak evil against thee wickedly. And when the Messiah came on the scene, he constantly quoted the Psalms, the prophets, as it is written. These things still stand, man. So don't come to me with it. That's the Old Testament crap. Because the God of the New Testament hates as well. It's the same God. He said he hated the works of particular churches. The Nicolaitans, I'm thinking about one right now off the top of my head. It's just a strong dislike, man. The followers of the Messiah didn't walk around bowing to those different idols and things. They had a hatred for them, a strong dislike. For they speak evil against thee wickedly, and thine enemies take thy name in vain. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? Am I not grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies. Hate the good, all right, or hate the evil, and love good. Amos. Let's see here. I found another one. Proverbs 8 and 13. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy. And that's what this whole world is based upon. In the evil way, in a forward mouth, do I hate. The God don't hate nothing. No, there's no hate of God. Proverbs 6. Proverbs 6 and 16. These 6 things do the Lord hate. 666. Interesting. 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. Right there, this describes Esau in his history and his present. And heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that run swift into mischief, a false witness, vocab, that speaketh lies, and one that soweth discord among brethren. Okay? You got people, and this is the ways of this world, man. I believe it's Amos 5. Let's see. Yep, they hate him that rebuketh in the gate. Yep, Amos 5 and 15. Hate the evil and love the good, and establish judgment in the gate. It may be that the Lord God of hosts will be gracious unto the remnant of Joseph. All right. So we're supposed to hate the evil, man. Okay. I mean, it's simply in the Bible. As a matter of fact, we'll go to bigotry and we'll end it off. But Ecclesiastes 3 says what? To every purpose there is to everything there is a season, and to every purpose under heaven. All right. There is a time that you implement all of these emotions and things, and it can lead to life, to hate something. Okay. A child seeing a Catholic priest saying, "Come into this room." If his parents taught him the right way to hate the evil, he wouldn't go into that room. Now you will teach him to go into that room. What do you think is going to happen to that child if he goes into that room? with that Catholic priest. Think about it. Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there's a season, and to every purpose under heaven. Okay? Time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant. All right? A time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, a time to build up. Now, when Yahweh Shai returns, that's going to be the time, all right, to get down, man. Time to weep, a time to laugh. Right now, we're in the time of weeping and mourning. Okay? There's a time to dance. We're going to dance. See, then why we're not saying, partying and having a good time is wicked. We're just saying we're not in the time to do that. Not that brothers don't let their hair down and chill out. All right. But that's not the spirit we're promoting to Israel. All right. A time to embrace, a time to cast away stones, a time to refrain from embracing. See, there's a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. And let's just jump to the point. You don't embrace every time. Sometimes you don't embrace. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. There's particular ways that you should hate if you're a follower of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. And you shouldn't be afraid to openly condemn them. Now, you don't use that hate as a means to establish your own judgment. Okay? No, the scripture said, be angry and sin not. Okay? So let's go to bigotry, because that's another thing that vocab said. So we got the definitions of race, ism, hate. Now, bigot. All right, and this is going to be easy. All right, a person who obstinately or unreasonable, a person who is obstinately or unreasonably attached to a belief. And see, they're fine when we're putting tattoos all over our face, our bodies, different color hair, men putting on fingernail polish, doing all sorts of wickedness. You don't see vocab telling our people to stop that. He wants our people to stop following after Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai and calling themselves Israelites. You see? But a bigot is a person who's obstinately or unreasonably attached to a belief. Was not Paul a bigot? David was a bigot. All right. Was Yahweh Shai a bigot? Huh? Was he attached to a belief and unbudged and not moving or budging from it? Condemning other beliefs? So scriptures say he that is not with me is against me. Let's get that. Give me 1 second here. All right. It says, okay, hold on. Luke 11:23. Okay. All right, start at Matthew 12:30. He that is not with me is against me. Okay. And what was his duty? To uplift the father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay. He that is not with me is against me, and he that gathereth not with me is scattereth abroad, man. Okay? We're supposed to look down upon other ways and be unmovable in the faith. First Corinthians 15. See how they're able to take these words and promote these narratives, because ultimately they're going down? And their ways are being cast down. And 1 Corinthians 15:58. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord, man. Okay, and there's so many other scriptures, man, that we can get. Be diligent, blameless. Cast thy burden upon the Lord. Afflictions, partakers. Anyway, let's go back to the meaning of bigot. All right. Especially one who is prejudiced against or antagonistic towards a person or people on the basis of their membership to a particular group. Was not Paul antagonistic to the worshipers of Diana? To the point where their idols weren't making the money that they were used to? Acts 19 and 27. I'll start at 26, Acts 19 and 26. Moreover, ye see and hear that not alone at Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, this Paul hath persuaded and turned away much people, saying that they be no gods which are made with hands. All right. So when we condemn Christmas and we condemn these different practices and tell our people to stop following them, Paul did the same thing. But you all just want to go to Paul and prank this narrative of all nations being loved and saved. No. Those Gentiles were Israelites who were scattered throughout these regions following idols that turned away from those idols, man. Abhorred those idols, started to hate and learn that the ways that they should follow, all right, go back to the ways of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. Moses. Okay, and follow Yahushua in sincerity and truth, and be humbled that you're even given a chance through grace, and you put forth the works, all right, that will lead to life, man. Faith without works is dead. It says, verse 27, so that not only this our craft is in danger to be set at naught, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised, and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worshipeth. And when they heard these things, they were full of wrath and cried out, saying, Great Diana, the great of Ephesus, basically the black woman is God. That's what they were saying, but Paul was teaching to stop following those idols. So a bigot, I mean, and we can go to, so Caleb was a bigot, right? So many examples of bigotry, man. Goodness gracious. A person who is, let's go to the dictionary.com. We read that already. It's this is usually pretty good. It said a person who is utterly intolerant of any difference in creed, belief, or opinion. So wait a minute. Vocab said that we're bigots. So what should we do? Should we include all of these beliefs? Should we speak for all of these practices and beliefs? Or should we focus on keeping the law, statutes, and holy days that we were given as a nation? See, that's when we become offensive, when we're not leaning on their bitch ass. And yeah, I said it. All right. If it put a bad vibe on you, hey, just click off the video. It's all good. Okay, it's just a female dog, right? I mean, so much we can go into, man. Isaiah 10 and 20. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them. No, we're not listening to you. Why should we? Now, Vocab Malone didn't physically smite us. I mean, he probably did. But his family, his ways are against our way. His ways, he wants us to stay in that submissive, begging for crumbs off the table, marching for civil rights and equality, and leaning upon Esau's education of who we are, call ourselves black. No, the remnant are no longer going to stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. The remnant shall return, even the remnant unto the mighty God. And they're going to return to the ways of their fathers, which is going to give them a spirit to separate, to speak against things, to hate things, to say things that are racist, right? So they're going to use that as a means to say, you know what, they're going to kill everybody and we got to shut them down. See, but what's happening is that water has been poured upon the dry grounds, man, and which is the offspring of the nation of Israel. Okay? And we're turning back to the Most High, calling ourselves by the name of Israel, Jacob, which is all prophecy, man. But they want to keep us in that deep sleep, which is why they're getting ready to come after us. They're getting ready to make a move. There's things happening, and you can clearly see, all right, Revelation 12 and 17, and the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Why? Which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. All right, and this dragon in this chapter is talking about the Roman Empire, which has been revised, okay, which has been reborn through Babylon the Great, America, the NATO and the EU, the beast system. So with that, I've said enough, and I know there's so many scriptures I could have brought out on these points, but we'll just leave it at that. Hopefully you all were edified. Shalom. Call halal Yahabashim Yahshai. Bashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.